There's a reason some people stay stuck and others break through. It's not luck. It's not where they were born or who they know. It's how they think, how they live, what they tolerate. If you're tired of surviving, tired of repeating the same cycle, tired of watching your potential waste away while others move forward, then it's time to wake up and face the truth. Success is not for the chosen few. It's for the committed. It's for the focused. It's for the disciplined. It's for those who've really decided to stop living below what they're capable of. If you're waiting for someone to rescue you, you'll be waiting forever. No one is coming. No one's going to give you a better future. You've got to take it. You've got to build it. You've got to earn it by showing up stronger, thinking sharper, and living smarter than you did yesterday. That's how you move from poverty to prosperity, not just in money, but in mindset, behavior, and vision. This is the line in the sand. You either stay average or you rise. You either keep doing what's easy or you finally do what's necessary. Because the truth is, most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they never stop doing the things that sabotage their progress. They keep talking big, but acting small. They keep waiting for signs while wasting years. They blame, they scroll, they gossip, they doubt, and they quit. And then they wonder why nothing changes. But you don't have to be like that. You don't have to live the same story. You don't have to repeat what broke you. You can choose a different path right now. You can cut the noise, break the cycle, and take full control of your future. But only if you're willing to let go of what's holding you back. Because no matter how hard you work, if you keep dragging the wrong mindset, the wrong habits, and the wrong people into your life, success will keep slipping through your fingers. You want to rise? Then strip away everything that's pulling you down. This isn't about shortcuts. This is about ownership, about making choices that put you in control. You weren't born to just get by. You were born to build something real, something that lasts. And today that starts with knowing what to stop doing. This is not about motivation. It's about transformation. You don't attract success by chasing hype. You attract it by becoming sharp, silent, disciplined, and focused. The moment you start doing the right things and stop doing the wrong ones, everything changes. Your energy shifts, your environment changes, and your results begin to show. So if you're ready to go from waiting for a better life to building one, then it starts right here, right now. And the first thing you must do is stop blaming anyone else. Number one, stop blaming others for your situation. There comes a time when you have to take a good look at your life. Not to complain about it, not to justify it, but to own it. If you want to move from struggle to strength, from broke to building wealth, from being stuck to rising up, you have to stop pointing fingers. It doesn't matter who hurt you, who didn't support you, or what kind of cards you were dealt when you started. None of that will change your life. The only thing that can is you. You see, blaming is easy. That's why so many people do it. It doesn't require effort. It doesn't require action. It just gives you a way out. And that way out becomes a dead end. Every time you say it's because of my parents, or it's because the system is unfair, or no one gave me a chance, you hand over your power, you give it away to the very thing that's already holding you back. That's not how success works. Success begins the moment you stop expecting the world to owe you something. It begins the moment you realize no one's coming to save you. That sounds harsh, but it's the truth. The moment you accept it, your mind shifts. You stop waiting and start building. You stop complaining and start learning. You stop blaming and start becoming. People who rise from poverty to prosperity don't have fewer problems. They just stop using their problems as excuses. They still face rejection, criticism, and setbacks. But instead of sitting in the pain, they work through it. They stop asking, why me? And start saying, what now? That's the difference. That's where the fire starts. You've got potential inside you that hasn't even been touched yet. But that potential is locked behind the mindset that says, it's not my fault. When you break through that wall and say, whether or not it's my fault, it is my responsibility, everything changes. That shift in thinking is the beginning of freedom. It's not about denying the fact that others may have done wrong by you. It's about choosing not stay stuck in what they did. The longer you stay bitter, the longer you stay broke. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about your spirit, your confidence, your ability to believe in yourself again. You lose all of that when you live in blame. You've got to make a decision to stop waiting for apologies, stop waiting for life to be fair, and stop expecting someone else to make it right. Because truthfully, you don't need them to. You've got the power to make it right by what you do next. So start now. Start where you are. Even if it's a mess. Even if you feel like you're at the bottom. Because the beautiful thing is, once you take ownership, you're no longer at the mercy of anyone else. You are in the driver's seat. You decide how far you go. You decide how you respond. You decide how you rise. And maybe nobody ever told you that before. Maybe you've been surrounded by people who only talk about how unfair life is. Maybe you were raised around blame. But you don't have to stay in that circle. You can be the one who breaks out. You can be the one who turns the story around. You can be the one who chooses growth over excuses. People admire results, not complaints. They follow courage, not victimhood. So if you want to attract success, if you want to step out of the struggle and into something greater, stop giving your attention to what's wrong and start focusing on what you can make right. That's where your future begins. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to stop giving your power away. Stop saying, I can't because of them, and start saying, I will because of me. Own your story, not the blame. Just the responsibility to write a new chapter. That's how people go from poverty to prosperity. That's how people turn pain into power. That's how people win. Now is your moment to decide which side of the story you want to live on. The side where you complain or the side where you conquer. You can't live in both. The choice is yours. But if you truly want to succeed, you have to make that decision loud and clear in the silence of your own mind. That's where real success begins, when you stop blaming and start building. Number 2, avoid living only for today. Think long term. If you only live for today, you'll keep waking up in the same place tomorrow. That's the trap most people fall into. They do what feels good now, but what feels good now often keeps them stuck. If you want to attract success, you need to train your mind to see beyond the next hour, the next day, or even the next week. You need to start thinking years ahead. People who rise from poverty to prosperity don't make every choice based on comfort or cravings. They make choices based on what their future needs. They're not just asking, what do I want today? They're asking, who do I want to become? Where do I want to be 5 years from now? What habits am I practicing that will either build my future or destroy it? It's easy to spend money the moment it hits your pocket. It's harder to invest it when no one else around you is doing it. It's easy to scroll for hours and kill time. It's harder to sit down and read a book, take notes, or build something from scratch when no one's clapping for you. But here's the truth. The easy things give you short-term relief, and the hard things give you long-term reward. When you're broke or struggling, your mind gets trained to survive each day. You focus on making it a tomorrow. You look for quick wins and instant relief. That mindset keeps you stuck. That's the mindset you have to break. Because if you don't break it, it will break your potential. You'll wake up year after year wondering why things haven't changed, when the answer is simple. You are always thinking about now, never later. Prosperity is a long game. It rewards people who can look past the moment and think strategically. That means you have to become the kind of person who delays pleasure to build a future. That means you have to turn down distractions when no one's watching. That means you choose purpose over pleasure. That's how strong people grow. That's how winners are made. You have to realize that your current habits are not just habits, they are seeds. Every day you're planting something. You're either planting discipline or regret. You're either building a legacy or building a list of excuses. People who succeed are not smarter or luckier. They're just more focused on the future than they are on the moment. It takes discipline to think long-term when everyone around you is chasing quick highs. It takes vision to build something that might not pay off for months or years. But that's the mindset you must adopt if you want to attract real success. If you want to go from just getting by to getting ahead, you have to start building with tomorrow in mind. Ask yourself every day, is what I'm doing now helping me become the person I want to be? Is this choice feeding my future or feeding my comfort? That's the filter. That's how you begin to transform. You get real with yourself and make better choices, not perfect ones, just better. This mindset shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes patience, and you won't always feel motivated. But you're not chasing motivation, you're chasing growth. And growth doesn't show up right away. It shows up after months of working when it's hard. It shows up when you start saying no to what everyone else is saying yes to. Don't expect life to give you more when you're not taking care of what you have. If you waste your hours become your months. If you waste your months become your years. If you don't take control now, life will decide for you, and it rarely decides in your favor. You've got to step in and take charge. Start thinking in seasons, not seconds. Start thinking about the consequences of today's actions a year from now. That's maturity. That's leadership. That's success. When you stop living only for today, you start building a future that's worth waking up for. When you begin to think long term, something powerful happens. You start to feel stronger. Your decisions become smarter. Your time becomes more valuable. You don't chase the approval of others, you chase the results of your own vision. And even if no one understands why you're working so hard now, they'll see the results later. Let them wonder. You've got goals to build. Every person who ever built wealth, peace of mind, or a meaningful life did it by thinking ahead. They didn't waste time blaming the past or chasing quick rewards. They invested themselves into something greater than today. That's how you shift from survival to success. So the next time you want to give in to a quick distraction, remember this. You're either making progress or making excuses. And the difference is how far you're thinking. Winners plan, losers drift. If you want to move from where you are to where you've always wanted to be, start thinking like the person who's already there. Number 3, quit spending more than you earn. Nothing keeps a person stuck in poverty more than the habit of spending money they haven't earned or don't need to spend. It doesn't matter how much you make. If you keep spending more than that amount, you'll always feel broke, anxious, and behind. Success starts with control, and one of the first areas to control is your spending. You have to build a mindset where you respect every dollar you earn, especially when you don't have much. Because if you don't manage a little well, life will never trust you with more. People often think their problem is they don't make enough money. But in many cases, the real issue is they don't manage what they already have. They spend to feel better, to escape, to impress, to fit in, and in doing so, they stay stuck in the same place year after year. Every time you buy something you don't need, you sell a piece of your future for it. That's the truth. You give away your freedom in exchange for a moment of feeling good. You've got to shift from being a spender to being a builder. That means when money comes in, you don't just ask what you can buy. You ask what you can build. You ask how much you can save, how much you can invest, how much you can use to grow your skills. It takes strength to do that. It's not always fun, but freedom later is worth more than a new toy today. If you're always buying things to impress people, you'll end up impressing no one, not even yourself. You'll just dig a deeper hole of frustration and regret. The poor mindset spends to survive. The rich mindset spends to grow. When you spend less than you earn, you create a gap. And in that gap is your opportunity. That gap becomes your cushion, your breathing room, your seed money for something bigger. Even if it's small at first, it matters. That small savings account is more than money. It's a symbol that you've started to respect yourself in your future. No one needs to see you win yet. They don't need to understand your decisions. But one day they will. They'll see what you built while they were out trying to look rich. Because there's a difference between looking rich and being rich. And people who win financially often spend years being quiet, being disciplined, making sacrifices while others don't notice. That's how they pull ahead. Not with big talk, but with quiet control. Every time you pull out your wallet or hit buy now, you're voting. You're choosing whether to build your future or betray it. And if you really want to change your life, you've got to stop chasing status and start building security. You can't borrow your way to wealth. You can't buy your way to peace. You've got to live beneath your means and use that gap to rise. One of the smartest things you'll ever do is learn to say no to yourself. Not every urge needs to be followed. Not every deal needs to be grabbed. Not every sale is a blessing. Discipline with money doesn't mean you never spend it. It means you only spend on things that truly matter. You trade today's temptation for tomorrow's freedom. And when you do that long enough, your life changes. You breathe differently. You sleep better. You think clearer. Start with what you have. Even if your income is small, use it wisely. Don't wait for a big check to get serious about your money. If you can't handle a little, you won't handle a lot. Be the person who respects every dollar now, and more will come. It's not magic, it's cause and effect. You've got to stop thinking that more money will fix bad money habits. It won't. In fact, more money will only make those habits louder. If you overspend with $1,000, you'll overspend even more with $10,000. That's why the change has to start with how you think, not just how much you earn. Mindset first, money second. And once you get control of your spending, You start feeling powerful. You start realizing that you're not a victim of your paycheck. You're the driver of your destiny. You no longer rely on luck or chance. You have a plan, you have discipline, and that makes you different. That puts you in a position to climb when others stay stuck. So ask yourself, what am I spending on that isn't serving my future? What purchases do I regret? What financial habits are keeping me broke? Answer those questions honestly, and you'll begin to see the path out. It won't be easy. It won't be instant, but it will be worth it. The key to prosperity is not just in how much you earn, but how well you manage what you already have. It's not about income, it's about behavior. And the behavior of spending less than you earn is one of the most powerful habits you'll ever form. Because once you master your spending, you gain control of your life. And when you have control, you can build anything. Number 4, don't surround yourself with negative, small-minded people. Nothing slows down your progress like being surrounded by people who don't believe in progress. When you're trying to rise, when you're working to change your life, the voices around you matter more than you think. If all you hear is doubt, fear, complaints, gossip, blame, and excuses, you start to absorb it. Even if you think you're strong, even if you tell yourself it doesn't affect you, it still gets in. Little by little, your drive weakens, your vision gets blurry, and your fire starts to fade. Small-minded people don't just talk small, they think small. They see limits, not possibilities. They focus on problems, not solutions. And when you spend your time with people like that, they make your dreams feel unreasonable. They'll tell you not to try. They'll laugh at your ideas. They'll question your goals. Not because they're bad people, but because they gave up on their own goals a long time ago. And now they want company in their comfort zone. You cannot build a new life while surrounded by people addicted to the old one. You need people who challenge you, not discourage you. People who push you to think bigger, not settle for less. Every time you try to grow, life will test your environment, and you've got to make hard choices. Who you listen to will determine how far you go. If the people around you aren't building, growing, and pushing themselves, you're in the wrong crowd. If they mock ambition, if they laugh at change, if they drag conversations into the dirt, you need distance. Not hatred, not anger, just distance. You don't need to fight with them. You don't need to prove anything. You just need to step back and focus forward. It's not about being better than anyone. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. And you can't do that while constantly trying to drag people with you who refuse to move. Success isn't about pulling everyone with you. It's about becoming someone strong enough to lead by example. That takes courage. That takes saying no when it's easier to say yes. That takes walking alone for a while so you can build something worth being part of. If your friends only talk about other people, if your circle spends more time complaining than creating, you've got to ask yourself, am I staying here out of loyalty or out of fear? Because fear keeps more people stuck than failure ever will. Fear of being alone. Fear of being different. But being different is the point. You don't rise by blending in. You rise by standing up for your future. Build relationships that reflect your values, your goals, and your mindset. Seek out people who talk about ideas, who challenge assumptions, who work on themselves every single day. These people don't waste time on drama. They don't cling to excuses. They don't pull others down to feel better. They lift others. They inspire with their actions. They build things, they read, they think, they improve. That's the environment that makes you stronger. And if you say, I don't know anyone like that, then become that person first. Be the one who speaks with purpose. Be the one who shows up early, stays late, and works harder. Be the one who learns when others watch TV. Be the one who saves when others spend. When you become that person, you'll start attracting others on the same path. You don't find great people by chance, you attract them by who you become. There's a cost to growth. And one of the first costs is comfort. You may have to leave behind relationships that no longer fit the life you're building. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care too much about your future to waste time in the past. It's okay to outgrow people. It's okay to move forward without them. That's not betrayal, that's growth. Every conversation you have either feeds your fire or puts it out. You need to protect your fire. You've worked too hard to let someone's bitterness or laziness dull your edge. You've come too far to let someone else's doubt talk you out of your progress. Build a circle that sharpens you. Surround yourself with voices that speak life into your vision. You don't need 10 people cheering you on. Even one person who believes in you can change your entire path. But before you find that person, become that person. Be someone who believes in themselves so deeply, others start to believe too. That's how you shift your life. From poverty to prosperity, from average to excellent. You shift your crowd. You shift your standards. And you don't apologize for it. You can still love people without letting them influence your future. You can still care about them without carrying their weight. Everyone has a choice. And if they choose to stay stuck, that's their path. Yours is forward. Yours is upward. Yours is better. So look around. Who's in your ear? Who do you spend time with? Who influences your thoughts, your habits, your dreams? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is your signal that it's time to upgrade, not just your goals, but your circle. Because the people you surround yourself with are either adding fuel to your fire or pouring water on it. Choose wisely. Number 5, eliminate the habit of wasting time on meaningless things. The path from poverty to prosperity is built on time. How you spend it, how you respect it, and how you refuse to waste it. Every day you're given 24 hours, not 1 second more than the next person. Success doesn't come from being lucky with time. It comes from being ruthless with it. The truth is, most people stay stuck not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they waste time like they have an unlimited supply. Think about how many hours get thrown away on things that do nothing for your future. Scrolling through social media, binge-watching shows, gossiping, complaining, comparing, refreshing, reacting to drama that doesn't even matter. All that time adds up and it robs you of your future. 1 hour a day wasted is 365 hours a year. That's over 2 full weeks of life, gone with nothing to show for it. And the problem is, it doesn't feel dangerous in the moment. It feels normal. But comfort is the enemy of growth. And what feels normal often leads to nothing changing. You can't build a better life while handing your time to things that weaken your focus. You need clarity about what matters. You need to decide every single day what deserves your attention. Because your attention is your power, and if you give that power to distractions, you lose your direction. You start drifting. You become reactive instead of intentional. And that's how people fall behind without even realizing it. Every minute you spend on things that don't move you forward is a minute stolen from something that could change your life. While others scroll, you could be reading. While others gossip, you could be learning. While others waste their evening, you could be building your future. And here's what most people don't understand. Small moments add up. Consistency always beats intensity. 5 focused minutes a day toward your goal will get you further than 5 hours wasted on entertainment. Now, this doesn't mean you can never rest. It doesn't mean you become a robot. Rest is important. Fun is part of life. But there's a difference between resting and escaping. Rest charges you. Escaping avoids reality. One pushes you forward. The other keeps you stuck. You have to be honest with yourself. Ask, is this making me better or just distracting me from the work I need to do? Most people don't have a time problem. They have a priority problem. They make time for things that offer short-term comfort, but no long-term reward. The key to changing your life is to reverse that. Do the things that are hard now but pay off later. Wake up earlier, even when it's hard. Turn off the distractions and focus, even when it's boring. Say no to comfort, so you can say yes to growth. Your time is your most valuable currency. You can't get it back. You can't borrow more of it. So start guarding it like your life depends on it. Because it does. When you look back in a few years, you won't regret the hours you spent reading, learning, building, growing. You'll regret the time you spent doing nothing, thinking it didn't matter. Time wasted on meaningless things weakens your belief in yourself. When you keep choosing things that don't matter, deep down you start feeling like maybe you don't matter either. That's why wasting time feels good in the moment but leaves you feeling empty later. You know you're capable of more, but you keep avoiding the work that proves it. If you want to feel better, do better. If you want more confidence, earn it with better choices. Trade the temporary hit of dopamine for the real reward of progress. Because success isn't a single event. It's a daily habit. And every time you choose growth over comfort, your life changes. It doesn't always feel exciting. It doesn't always look impressive. But it compounds. It builds you from the inside out. So audit your day. Look at where your time is going. Be honest. Where are the leaks? Where are you spending hours on things that aren't making your life any better? Cut them out. Replace them with better habits. Choose to be intentional. Choose to show up for your future, even when it's not fun. because one day that discipline will turn into freedom. And remember, the ones who succeed are not always the smartest, not always the most talented, but they are the ones who show up, who do the boring work, who say no to the noise, who stay focused when everyone else is distracted. That's what separates those who stay in poverty from those who step into prosperity. The difference is discipline. The difference is time. Number 6, stop talking about goals you never work on. There's a point in life where talking about what you're going to do becomes exhausting, not just for others, but for yourself. At first, it feels good to speak big dreams out loud. You get a rush of motivation. You feel proud of the vision you have. But here's the trap. If all you ever do is talk, you're trading progress for the illusion of effort, and nothing changes. A goal without action becomes a burden. Every time you say what you're going to do but never follow through, your self-respect takes a hit. Quietly, your confidence starts to slip. You begin to feel like a fraud even if no one else sees it. You lose belief in your own words because deep down you know the truth: talk is cheap. Action is everything. Success doesn't come from speaking about it. It comes from becoming it. You don't need to announce your goals, you need to live them. Because when you speak without acting, you start building a life based on empty promises. Not just to others, but to yourself. And if you keep breaking your own promises, you start trusting yourself less and less. And when that trust fades, motivation disappears. The most powerful move you can make is to work in silence. Not because you're hiding, but because you're focused. Because the time you spend talking is time you could be spending building. Action doesn't need to announce itself. It reveals itself through results. And the more energy you waste trying to impress others with your plans, the less you have left to build those plans into reality. It's easy to post about your goals. It's easy to tell friends what you're planning. It's easy to dream out loud. But those things don't move the needle. Waking up early, staying consistent, learning, failing, adjusting, grinding when nobody's watching. That's what moves you forward. That's where growth happens. Not in the spotlight, in the silence of your effort. You have to make a decision. Do you want attention or do you want results? Because you won't get both at the same time. If you chase attention, you might feel good temporarily, but nothing will change in your life. If you chase results, you might feel unseen at first, but eventually your life will speak so loud you won't need to say a word. People respect actions, they respect results. When you build something real, they'll notice. You won't have to talk, you won't have to convince anyone. They'll see it in the way you live, the way you carry yourself, the discipline you built, the habits you formed, the peace in your eyes. That's what success looks like. Quiet, steady, strong. And here's another truth. When you stop talking and start doing, you feel better. You don't need external approval. You feel your own progress. You see your own growth. You experience the power of showing up, even when nobody knows you're doing it. That's the kind of success that can't be taken away from you, because it wasn't given by anyone. You earned it. You don't owe the world a performance. You owe yourself a transformation. If you've been stuck in the cycle of talking and not doing, stop today. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a step. One step forward. And then another. And another. Momentum is built through movement, not declarations. If you say you want to start a business, open your laptop and learn. If you say you want to get fit, go move your body. If you say you want financial freedom, look at where your money's going. Don't talk about it. Build it. Show up when it's hard, work when it's boring, push when it's uncomfortable. That's how dreams turn into achievements. Talking can make you feel productive, but only action creates change. You already know what you want. You've said it enough times. Now it's time to do the work and earn it. Not for likes, not for applause, but for you, for the life you want, for the person you're capable of becoming. You don't have to explain your goals anymore. You just need to chase them. Work in the shadows. Rise in silence. Let the results speak. And they will. They always do. Number 7, avoid doubting yourself every time life gets hard. When life gets tough, the first thing most people do is doubt themselves. The pressure rises, the failures show up, and suddenly that voice in your head gets louder. It starts telling you that maybe you're not cut out for this. Maybe you're not smart enough, strong enough, or lucky enough. And if you're not careful, you start believing that voice. You start stepping back. You hesitate. You stop moving forward. And just like that, life wins. Not because you couldn't handle it, but because you doubted that you could. Every person who ever built something valuable faced struggle. That's part of the process. If it were easy, everybody would be living at the top. But it's not. It's hard. It hurts sometimes. You'll be misunderstood, overlooked, and even criticized when you're just trying to make your life better. But those who succeed are the ones who learn to keep going when the storm comes. Not because they're never afraid, but because they've decided not to quit on themselves. You have to stop making pain mean that you're doing it wrong. Pain doesn't always mean you're off course. Sometimes it means you're growing. Discomfort is the space between where you are and where you want to be. It doesn't mean turn around, it means lean in. Because every challenge you face is building something inside you: strength, focus, resilience. You need those things. You need them more than comfort. You can't keep doubting yourself every time something breaks down. You can't keep pulling back every time life pushes forward. You need to stand your ground. You need to decide that your future is worth fighting for. And you need to understand something very clearly. Your thoughts are not facts. Just because you feel fear doesn't mean you're failing. Just because you feel tired doesn't mean you're weak. And just because something takes longer than you expected doesn't mean it's not working. You are more capable than you give yourself credit for. But you've got to stop interrupting your journey with doubt. Every time you stop to second guess yourself, you lose momentum. You lose clarity. You start chasing validation instead of results. And that's when people stay stuck, because they're waiting to feel perfect before they take action. But that moment never comes. The confidence comes from doing, not waiting. Life doesn't get easier, but you do get stronger. You get smarter. You get better at handling setbacks, but only if you keep showing up. Only if you stop using difficulty as a reason to shrink, and only if you stop measuring your value by how easy the path feels. There will be days when you feel behind. There will be days when nothing seems to work. There will be days when the people closest to you don't understand your vision. That's all normal. What matters is what you do on those days. Do you give up on yourself, or do you keep going, even if your knees are shaking? If you want to rise from poverty to prosperity, you must train your mind to stay steady. You must learn to trust your ability to figure things out, even when the answers don't come quickly. Because success doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it's just you showing up for another round. Choosing not to run. Choosing not to fold. Choosing to believe in your own power to overcome. You can't attract success while constantly doubting whether you deserve it. You have to believe that you're worthy. You have to believe that your actions matter. You have to believe that your life can improve, because if you don't believe it, no strategy, no opportunity, no mentor will be enough. Success starts in your mind. If you lose the battle there, you won't last long out here. So stop tearing yourself down when life tests you. Stop using failure as a measuring stick for your worth. Failure is information. Use it. Adjust. Improve. But don't quit. Don't give in. And most of all, don't stop trusting that you can do this. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to feel ready all the time. What you need is the decision to move forward anyway. To show up, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. To speak success into your life, even when you haven't seen the results yet. Because that mindset, that belief in the middle of uncertainty, that's what builds unstoppable people. You are not powerless. You are not broken. You are not stuck. Unless you decide to be. Every day is another chance to prove to yourself that you have what it takes. Every step you take, no matter how small, builds the future you're chasing. But you've got to hold your ground when it gets hard. You've got to trust that what you're building is worth the pressure, the pain, and the patience. The most successful people don't avoid struggle. They learn how to stay solid in it. They learn how to lead themselves through it. And they stop doubting who they are every time the world doesn't applaud. That's the kind of mindset that takes you from nothing to something. From poverty to prosperity, not by chance, but by choice. And you have that choice every single day. Make it count.